Lyn St. James. Sports professor Rick Horrow here with an American icon, Lyn St. James. There are a lot of American icons in this room, but this is a true, certifiable, heroic American icon.
Wow.
What do you think of
I
that?
I should leave now. That was
No,
really great.
we're not even done because the
you.
IndyCar Series, one of 9 women who qualified for the Indy 500, 2 victories in the 24-hour of Daytona, won the 12-hour of Sebring, the 24-hour Le Mans, 24-hour of Nuremberg. There's a lot here.
Yeah, I've been doing it a long time.
Do you miss it?
I still do it. Oh, yeah, no.
And do it successfully.
Yeah, I do, actually. I ran the historic races in the 24 hours of Daytona in November, and I ended up running 2 cars, a 2006 Ford GT and a 1974 Porsche RSR, 911 RSR. Came home with 2 trophies, so we did pretty good there, and I ran the Buttable Salt Flats last year. I ran Watkins Glen. I ran the vintage race at Indy, so I'm still doing it. I mean, I love it.
How mad are you at people who claim that race car drivers are not athletes?
Well, I don't get mad, but I do have a conversation with them.
Yes, you do.
To be able to explain to them that we are athletes, certainly. I mean, we've put heart rates on, race car drivers. We maintain 85% of our max cardiovascular the entire time we're in the car. We don't carry the car, but we still have, nobody's been able to really describe how much physical energy it takes to turn the steering wheel. And the car, basically wants to only go straight. And so whether you're running an oval or whether you're running a road course, you have to turn a lot. And so we're still trying to figure out how to be able to tell that. And physically, just the footwork and the amount of energy it takes to put your foot on the brake when you're coming from, 200 miles an hour to maybe 80 to be able to go through a corner. It's the G-forces and the energy it takes. So we are athletes completely.
Of course you are. How's the racing changed in the last 15, 20 years?
Well, it's gotten better, I think. First of all, the technology of the cars is certainly so much better. But at the same time, the quality of the drivers there's more depth in the fields. There's always been great race car drivers, and there's always been great races, but I think because now any race, if you have 30 cars or 33 cars or 22 cars in the field, probably any one of them are capable of winning, as opposed to maybe 2 or 3 or 5 or something. So there's a lot more competition, and I think it makes the racing better.
We'll talk about the philanthropy in a minute because that's really, really important. But what about the business? What are the big factors that have changed from a business perspective in the last 15, 20 years?
Well, the one thing I don't miss is chasing sponsorship because that's really been a part of it. But I also recognized when I first started racing back in the late 70s and the 80s is that this is a business. Once you transition from accepting anything, whether it's money or product, then you recognize it's a business. Now it's a very sophisticated business, where back then it was a little rougher. It was a little B2B was a little more about personal relationships.
Right.
Where now it is truly a business venture and a business exercise. And so, as always, though, you really need to know, as a driver or a team owner, you need to know what you can do for the company, for the sponsor. They know what you want.
Do most drivers get it?
I think the ones that are out there that are successful do.
Sure.
There's a lot of talented drivers that don't make it because they don't understand that part of it. They think I'm going to win races, so everybody's going to want me.
Yeah.
Where you've got to understand the business.
From a philanthropic and charitable and foundation perspective, you're about to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Women in the Winner's Circle Foundation. You founded in 1994, it's a while ago.
That's right.
Obviously a seminal event, movement. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, in the beginning, it was really about just trying to help. And I found through learning from my shero, Billie Jean King, that if you get experts together and then provide education and provide opportunities, that you're going to help the next generation. So that's what I started 25 years ago. Hadn't done that math. And so for me, it's just about giving back. It's about if I can't benefit others through what I've learned, then it's pretty selfish.
Well, but it's also humble because you've done more than give back. The movement has taken on more. Are you obviously much more to do? Women's Sports Foundation, everything else. Are you happy with where things are? You'll never be completely happy.
No, in fact, I was just talking to our buddy Greg Ballard.
Yeah,
I said,
good.
I need help.
Yeah, right.
Because we have no data. We have no data for women in racing. It's nothing statistic, no research. It's all anecdotal, what people think, what somebody might do some Counting. Okay,
Yeah.
so I was the second woman to race at Indy. We don't need research company to know that.
Yeah.
Or that there have been 9 women racing at Indy, which is fabulous. But we need data to be able to understand where how we can make it better. Because
Right.
if we make the sport more inclusive, the sport's going to grow. We know that.
And also it transcends. So Dan Towers, with Greg's help, and we've all been involved, the Indy Women in Tech Golf Championship, the tie-in with the Indy Race Car family in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So it spreads the word. Training, urban development, that's all very important in the future.
Yeah, no, it is. We need education, but we need data to be able to know what direction to point ourselves.
Where are you in 5 years?
Oh, where am I in 5 years? Well, first of all, I'm going to be a grandma.
Awesome. There you go.
So I'm excited about that. And I hope I'm sitting in, hope I'm watching Victory Lane, and maybe in 5 years we actually have a woman win a major professional race in road racing or in NASCAR or in Indy. So I'd like that within the next 5 years.
It is an honor and a pleasure to be with you. And everybody listening, I don't want any snide comments about you drive like my grandma, okay? After that, no more. None of those comments.
That's actually be a compliment.
It would be a compliment in this case. Thank you very much.